Hi, it's Dustin Lance Black here in London, and I'm going to read to you at least the first half of the prologue from my long-listed Polari Prize nominated Mama's Boy. A hot, gauzy morning in the late summer of 1987. That was the first time I ever laid eyes on the streets of Los Angeles. I was 13 years old, but looked 10 at best, an agonizingly shy Texas boy with eyes like water, hair like the sun, and a tanker truck's worth of secrets. I was jammed in the back seat of my mom's massive yellow Malibu Classic between my little brother Todd and our stinking cat, Airborne. My mom said we were on the move. Others would have called it on the run. Days earlier, my family had packed up what little we had of value and vanished without notice from our lives in the Lone Star State, leaving behind my middle school in San Antonio and our Mormon church in the Randolph Ward, heading west. My mom was behind the wheel, her hairspray stiffened curls resting on worried shoulders as she worked the hand controls to speed up and slow down her beast of a car. A colossal artifact from a former life that now had to be wrested into submission by a woman who walked on crutches, her legs in braces, her spine fused and held together with metal bars hidden just beneath the scars that ran the length of her body. My big brother Marcus sat up front beside her. His hair was just as long as hers, but kissing a black leather punk rock jacket covered in pins and buttons that shouted obscenities my mom had miraculously, if not willfully, grown blind to. He had a map spread out on his lap. We were lost. We were scared. But in good Southern Mormon fashion, we kept our terrors to ourselves. Here's the thing. We've been taught our entire lives that places like Los Angeles were filled with folks who traded their souls and salvation for fame, booze, drugs, cash, cars, heterosex, group sex, and dirty, filthy faggot sex. Los Angeles was the embodiment of an unfamiliar, exotic America that we'd been warned to avoid. Liberal, often coastal, a place for sinners and moral relativists. For our ragtag family on the run, passage through this city was a test of spiritual strength. So we plugged our noses in back. Marcus did his best to navigate up front, and my tiny runaway mom rotated the hand control that turned the gear, that pressed down on the gas pedal that she hoped might propel us to safety. 2 hours later, Marcus and my mom finally spotted the entrance to the 5 freeway heading north. The terrain grew steeper as we headed into the hills and over the Grapevine, a stretch of highway out of LA, where the snarl of traffic gave way to golden grasses, a reservoir lake, ranches, and a meadow filled with wildflowers. These were more familiar sights. This felt more like home. My mom looked up into her rearview mirror, found my eyes, and with all her mighty love and warmth, sent me a strong, silent message. You're safe now, my Lancer. I took a breath or two, pulled out a pen and a spiral notebook, and wrote a letter to a girl back in San Antonio. She and I had recently participated in a one-act drama competition. She'd played Eve, I'd played Adam, her mom was our drama teacher, and I described Los Angeles as the second gayest city in the world. It wasn't a compliment. I was already fairly certain that San Francisco was in first position thanks to AIDS hitting the national news when old Hollywood heartthrob Rock Hudson fell out of his closet and into his grave. Since then, even the news shows in Texas had started offering up images of emaciated gay men, most in San Francisco, but others in New York and Los Angeles dying terrible deaths thanks to their, quote, lifestyle choices. So yes, it seemed that San Francisco was the closest to hellfire, but I was fairly certain Los Angeles wasn't far behind. I suppose I felt it necessary to let someone in Texas know I'd survived our journey through this very foreign land. But as we reached the top of the mountain, something in my God-fearing heart stirred, and I looked back toward the city. It was calling to me. If I'm being honest, it had started calling well before we set out on this adventure. If Los Angeles was dangerous, I was curious. How true were the stories I'd heard? Did the people there really do so many strange things to their bodies, their minds, and one another? Did they really make all those movies and TV shows I'd fallen in love with on the rare occasions we were allowed to watch them? And the most dangerous question of all: did the nation's current teen heartthrob, Ricky Schroeder, with his golden hair and ocean blue eyes, actually live somewhere down in all of that chaos? That question, and all of its invasive roots and sticky webs, lingered longest in my mind as I watched the city glimmer and shine in the morning sun until it slowly disappeared behind a veil of blue-white smog.